Hey guys, so you guys seem to like the last video that I did where because lap times don't matter a ton anymore because of weather conditions, I'm just going to show you the different ways that you can approach these laps. So what I'm going to do here is show you what I think is going to be the best way, and we'll do a couple laps of it that way. I set an active reset point down just in case I mess up, and I might cut it out, but we'll see. So the best line around Rockingham for qual is usually this top line where you kind of bring it up to the wall, then drive it along the wall like this, and then bring it back down so that you don't kind of get crunched by the end of the corner. And this goes for both corners. So usually I think that the top isn't very good in 3 and 4 because you don't have the whole straightaway to get all that time back. But for some reason at Rockingham, it is really good. I'm trying to push the limits just to find out what my best options are. Doesn't mean I'm going to push the limits in the qualifying themselves. It just means that I know what I'm going for, or at least what the best option is. Yeah, okay, that was really good. Really good there. And so I think I'm going to do the same thing as I did last time, dive a little deeper into 3, get up by the wall, and then just keep it by the wall. And then at the last second, I'm going to bring it down the hill like this, so I don't catch the wall. There we go. There's our lap time, guys. So you kind of saw that process from beginning to end. And you know what? Let's just get out of the car here and show you the replay of that. 23.97. Let's see what the track temp was. Track temp was 105 for reference. So obviously the harder the track is, the slower the lap time is going to be. But this was a first lapper. So what I'm looking for here, so aiming right for the middle of the track and letting the car slide up. Notice my braking input here, about 30% once I get into the corner. So while I'm still on the straightaway, I want to be braking at that higher amount. But then once you hit the banking and enter the corner, you want the braking to be under 20%. And so I drag that up to the wall. And then my goal is I want to pick up the throttle right before getting to the wall. And you'll know that you're doing it right because it'll work. If you carry too much speed into the corner and you throttle up before you get to the wall, it's just going to send you into the wall because your car hasn't weight shifted yet. But because I drug my brake with the right timing and the right pressure for that entire time, I'm able to pick up this throttle, and it actually rotates under the throttle. See how I'm unloading the wheel as I got on the throttle? That means that I'm actually turning with the throttle, and that's what you want to finish this corner off. And then from there, I drive it as far down as I can because that exit comes up really quickly. But all of that work for this corner is done from braking here, trail brake, trail brake, trail brake, and then just trusting your throttle that it's going to rotate your car. If you don't do that, you're not going to get the fastest time because you're not going to get on throttle as early as other people. So I'm just showing you what is possible there. 3 and 4, same exact idea. So same amount of braking, same trail brake up the hill. And then here, I noticed in turn 3, I can pick up my throttle a lot earlier and still have the car weight shifted. Turn 1, it's really tight. You can barely pick it up early, but turn 3, notice how I'm picking it up early because I want to drive along the wall. So you see how I'm along the wall for a little bit? And I think I can get away with turning down even less than I did, but I was a little paranoid after what happened last attempt. So I turned down maybe a tiny bit too much, but I don't think it matters that much. But same idea as turn 1. It's just that with this corner, for whatever reason, we can pick up the throttle a lot earlier and ride the wall a lot longer. Turn 1 really feels like a diamond. Turn 3 feels like you throttle up early and then stay by the wall. More of like a reverse apex type of deal. But anyways, now that that's the hot lap, you know what? We're one taking this. Let's go talk about long run here. Who needs those fancy cuts? So long run, I'm a big fan of the bottom, but I know for a fact people make the top work. And I'll tell you why here. So we'll go over the bottom line first. Get our thing right there. So when we go to the bottom, we just want to use brake. And same idea of like diamonding, but we want to make sure that our wheel is as straight as possible for exit. We almost want to feel like we're driving up a hill. Notice that was 0.2 slower, but I guess I'm not really even going for lap time. So it's not that big of a difference. 3 and 4, whoa. Ah, man. That was kind of crazy. Whoa. There we go. Oh, I might keep that in too. So that is the issue with 3 and 4. You can get a really loose. So you want to let your car slide up a little earlier than you think is right, just because driving up that hill in 3 and 4 really helps you. Oh, that was an overdrive. You can tell because my rear tires slid. You could hear the tire noises. But 3 and 4, you got to trust yourself that you can kind of either keep the car on the bottom and not be aggressive on the throttle. But if you're aggressive on the throttle, just let the car come up a little early, because that's how you're going to use the banking to your advantage instead of using it to your disadvantage. So keeping it on the bottom here, you see how much more I'm able to roll through the corner. A couple tenths just because I was braking at the correct time. I was definitely braking too late on that corner where I missed. And then here, don't be afraid to give up a little time on entry, because 3 and 4 especially, you can be extremely aggressive on getting back to throttle. If there's one thing that you take from long run, is that the limits that you want to push for long run is being first to the gas in turn 3 and 4, and then also using as little wheel as possible while still getting to the gas early in turns 1 and 2. Turns 3 and 4, we can almost think of this as like an extended straightaway. See how wide I'm able to take it and still kind of keep off the... Oh. All right, let's talk about long run here. So I'm a big believer in the bottom at Rockingham, but admittedly, I know people that run the top and do very well with this. We're gonna go over both lines for long. First, we'll go to the bottom. This is what I'm more comfortable with. We wanna be early to the brake, and when we get back to the throttle, we wanna be very patient getting the car off the bottom in 1 and 2 specifically, but 3 and 4, we can be a lot more aggressive getting back to the throttle just because of the nature of the shape of the corner. As long as we can get that weight shift in 3 and 4, I can just full throttle, and you see how it gets loose there? That was not what I wanted, for sure. But that kind of proves the point where if I was a little more diligent letting the car slide up the track, then I would have been very neutral on tires, and that is what we were looking for. 1 and 2, you got to be a little more careful to wrap the bottom. Hopefully I do 3 and 4 a little better this time to show you guys. So we get to the bottom, we get the weight transfer, and now as I get back to the throttle pretty aggressively, I'm just going to let the car slide up the track. There's a little more room than you think by intuition, which is why 3 and 4 is the better choice for that. 1 and 2, you don't want to overdrive. I overdrove there. You can tell because my car was sliding up through the middle of the corner. That's a little bit of lap time if you need to make up some time, but it's not particularly good for tires. You want to kind of keep your car on a rail at Rockingham until the exit where you just kind of drive up the hill. I'll do a couple more laps of just running the bottom here. So get to the bottom. Little higher than I wanted to be, but I was still kind of on a rail. Little tiny tap. What I'm really avoiding is using extra steering wheel to fix my problems. That's how you can really get in trouble at Rockingham. Like, let's say I'm getting tight in the middle of a corner. You can choose to use your steering wheel to fix that problem, but it's going to really hurt the life of your tires and add some extra heat that you're going to have to deal with for the rest. So whenever I have a problem that I'm dealing with on corner entry, let's say I missed something, I just deal with it. Like, let's say I overdrive this corner. I'm overdriving this corner. I'm just going to be on the brake longer than I usually am, and sure, I definitely lose some time. But the tires more or less are the same because I didn't ask anything extra of them. I just I took the L. I lost a bit of lap time by riding the brake for longer than I would particularly usually want to. But prioritizing corner exit while making sure not to have to use too much wheel to achieve those goals. Like, notice how my wheel is almost straight by the point where I'm full throttle. That's what we want it to be. If you're full throttle early, but you're also cranking the wheel in order to keep it off the wall, that's how you know that you're destroying your right front tire. All right, and now the other line that I was going to talk about is this high line, and I'm really not the best at it, so I'm just going to try to let you know what I know, but my level of execution isn't all there. So a lot of people think that when you get up top here, you really need to send it in order to maintain your momentum, but at a place like Rockingham, it's all about how early you can get back to the partial or majority throttle. So like, for instance, turn 3, I'm going to let off really early so that the car barely even slides up the track at all, and then we just kind of almost full throttle the rest of the way. I might have to pedal a little bit if the car's starting to get tight, but what a lot of people make mistakes in is like this line right here that we use for qualifying. It's really good, but the problem is that that process of sliding up the track in the middle of the corner under braking is a real right front heater. So what we want to do is we want to cut out that first part of the diamond by entering high, but the only way we can comfortably enter high is if we back up our entries a little bit. We still want to get to the throttle as early as possible, but it's turn 1 especially. This turn's a killer. Look how close I am to the wall. Like, I was closer than I wanted to be. If I were to choose, I would rather be a turn 3 and 4 highliner than a turn 1 and 2 highliner, like right here. This is pretty comfortable comparatively to 1 and 2. 1 and 2, it almost feels like a leap of faith, in my opinion. Now, the earlier that I make my entry and the less greedy I am, the easier it's going to be. But just what happens is that the lower that we enter on the top, the more steering wheel we have to use to keep it off the wall. And that's how we manage our tires while running the top. This line is going to be a very, very good defensive line because the bottom has to get all the way up to the wall to finish their corners in the majority of cases. And the bottom doesn't clear the top very easily, center corner, especially in the early run, but probably in the late run as well. And the top can get a lot of runs here on the bottom where you can make crossovers and then do your own dive bombs and then try to keep the top lane and the positional advantage. But turn 1 is, I just feel like I'm abusing my tires there. And I know that there are people that make it work, and I think that they're just taking it even easier than I am. If I were to choose a line, I would stay up top 3 and 4 and then go to the bottom 1 and 2. But let me show you like the time difference here, right? So if I go to the bottom in this next corner, let's see what the time difference is. So early brake to the bottom, just a little bit. You see, get killed off the corner, but actually it's still faster. So this top thing might just be what people use to defend at the end of a run, but it does seem like a well-run bottom is better than the top in 1 and 2. Now, I did lose out slightly in 3 and 4, which is to be expected. That's like the more natural top line corner. But 1 and 2, I believe you can execute it pretty well, but as you can see here, it's really not that good. So my recommendation, I think I've said this already a couple times, but if I were going for pure speed, I would be bottom 1 and 2, top 3 and 4. If I were going for tire conservation, I'd be bottom all the way around until it's time to spend the tires, then maybe start using the top 3 and 4. But I just I'm not really in love with this top line of 1 and 2. In fact, let's see what it did to our tires here. 96, 96. So like I said, it's doable to be good on your tires while running the top. I just think that the bottom of 1 and 2 is better, but 3 and 4, I think you can experiment with where you want to be. I think I'll probably use the top. But anyways, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. I hope to see you all on the track.